Hi students. So today we're here to talk about symbols of peace. So a symbol is a picture or an icon, like some little image that represents a word. And so we have all these symbols that you see here. You see the heart, you see the world, you see shaking hands, you see the peace sign, you see the dove, the olive branch. All these types of things have been symbols of peace, meaning little images that represent the word peace to different cultures at different time periods. But sometimes we don't know why. We just see it and we know. But we're going to learn a little bit of the why today. And hopefully at the end, you will get to create your own symbol of peace. So, one of the first symbols that we're going to talk about is this. Any guess what it is? So, if you said a branch or plant, you're right. So, this is an olive branch. So, if you see like the little, they're technically fruits, but they're salty, but green or black olives. And so, why this means peace and has for so long is because taking the pit inside the olive and planting it into the ground, it would take 3 whole years for it to grow into a tree where you could take more fruit from it and eat it. And so, this is why this olive branch has been a symbol of peace for so long, because it was this symbol that people knew if they were planting olives, that meant they knew there'd be at least 3 years where they'd be home and able to just tend to and care for their family and for these fields and for these plants. And what peace really means is simply no war, no violence. So this olive branch, this greenery is a symbol of peace because it means that the people would be home and they would just be taking care of their family and their community in a basic, healthy way. So that's why the olive branch means peace. There's also rainbows. And rainbows, you may remember, were also used during COVID as a symbol of peace and memory. And there's a few different reasons, but one is if you think about the rainbow, it's kind of shaped like this. And it's from old times when people used to use bow and arrows as tools of war. So that was the weapon of the time, was a bow. And so if soldiers came home and they placed their bow on the wall, it looked like a rainbow. And so that was a reason that rainbows have been a symbol of peace, because it literally meant the weapons were down, they were at rest, and they were home. Another symbol is the dove. And so, according to a biblical story in Genesis, a dove was released after a huge flood, and it flew off. And what it came back was an olive branch. And so, it was a sign that the destruction was done, the flooding was done, the violence was done, and that this bird came back with this symbol of peace in its mouth, but also a symbol of new life and new growth, and a time for people to settle down again and move past the violence of the past and try to work towards a time of future. So this dove continues to be a symbol of peace for many cultures across time. This is also a symbol, and it's simply, if you see, it's a gun being broken. So this is from 1909, so even before the First World War. And this is called the Broken Rifle. And so it's all about this kind of movement of removing guns and removing weapons from places, so that it was this simple breaking of a rifle, saying that people should not have weapons in order for us to have peace. And these are symbols of peace that maybe you're seeing a little bit more right now. Anyone know what they are? Many people are wearing them right now over their heart. It's the poppy, right? And so there's also different colors of poppy. There's the red poppy that maybe you see the most, and it's from a poem called In Flanders Field. There's also the white poppy from 1933. That was this movement to raise money as well, not just for the soldiers. So the red poppy raises money for soldiers that were hurt in war. The white poppy was worn as a way to remember the lives lost of innocents during war. The purple poppy is a way to remember animals whose lives were lost at war. The black poppy is a way for black soldiers to be remembered. And the beaded poppy is a way for indigenous soldiers to be remembered. And that one's one of the newer ones in 2017. So all these poppies are basically different ways for people to show their support and to say, I don't want lives to be lost. I think we need to work towards peace, work towards not having war, because we don't want any more soldiers or innocents or animals or people of color to be harmed in war anywhere in the world. This is a symbol, you may not see it as much, but it was pretty prominent in the 1930s. And it's from a Russian artist. And so it simply means those 3 dots was this whole movement that said, trying to get all of the world governments to agree that if there's war, that there's 3 things that they will agree to never destroy. They will never destroy anything related to art of a culture, anything related to science and education of a culture, and anything related to the religion of a culture. And many did sign this. And so it's a way still to remind ourselves that even if there is times of fighting, that we work together to preserve those things of a culture, the art, the science and education, and the religion and culture of a community. This is very common. We see this all the time, and now there's the whole creating the heart out of it. I'm not very good at that, but right. So this symbol means V, the letter V for victory, and it was used very prominently in World War II. So it's easy to remember. World War II, V for victory, and it was a way to show that victory meant the war was done, so no more war. And so now it's been used throughout that time, and it's now very common of just like meaning peace, and people use it frequently. And so it's a way just to remember no more war, it's all about peace. And then this is the peace crane. I'm actually wearing some right now. So this is an origami piece of paper that's folded to look like a bird. And this comes from a story. Sadako Sasaki was a young girl who survived a bomb that fell in World War II in Japan. And so she survived, and her family, many of them also survived. But because of that bomb, she got sick. And so when she was in the hospital trying to get better, she was told the story of 1,000 cranes. And the story said that if you were to fold 1,000 pieces of paper into these birds, that you would get a wish. And so the story goes that she tried to get paper from everyone. Her students from class would send her paper. She'd take pieces of recycling, right? Paper that wasn't used, scrap paper, and fold it into the cranes. And she folded and folded and folded. And when she got to 1,000 cranes, do you know what she did? What she wished for? It wasn't to get better for herself. Her wish was that the type of bomb that fell on her community would never fall again. And so that was why this continues to be a symbol of peace, to remind us of Sadako and remind us to keep working together as a world, to have no war, and that we really need to understand and keep things safe for everyone, especially our children. And then how many of you have seen this, right? This is a very common symbol of peace, but a lot of people don't know why it means peace. It's the circle with a line. What? I don't get it. So what it means is it's kind of connected to that Sadako and that type of bomb that fell. And so what it means is it's a type of language that used to use flags to spell out words. And so when you hold the flags, like the person is with your arms down, kind of like an upside down V, that means the letter N for nuclear. And if you hold them up and down with a straight line, that means the letter D for disarmament. So this was a campaign for nuclear disarmament. So it's connected to that peace cranes. And it was a way to help spread the message across the world that we do not want those types of bombs, that we need to agree as a society, as humans all over, that no matter what, we work our hardest towards peace to come up with and negotiate any sort of conflict we have, that we work for together to not use these weapons. And this is the rainbow flag, which is connected to that bow symbol. It's connected a little bit to the peace dove as well. But it's also from Pace de Tutti de Balcony. My Italian's not that great, I'm sorry. And pace means peace in Italian. And so this became a very popular symbol of peace, first in the 60s, but it was again used in 2002 during the invasion of Iraq. And so this was a flag that was hung in many different places. And so it was a way of symbolizing, hey, we want to work towards peace, no more fighting. We need to work together to communicate and to work towards not having violent conflict. And then, of course, there's all the different words of peace in so many different languages. So think about for yourself, what's the word peace in your language? So now I'm going to leave you with this activity to create and draw your own symbol of peace. What does peace look like for you? Is it a monster that eats weapons and then like leaves out peace and love and heart? Is it a different type of plant that to you or nature means peace? Just what, when you think of peace, no fighting, what kind of image can you draw to help symbolize that? So, with that, I thank you all. I love you all. And I wish you a beautiful, beautiful day.